research companies and sustainable practices, and then while doing that they had to back research where those companies, how they were funded, and so the purchases that they make or the decisions they make in their life, they had to make sure that there was valid research behind that. It was interesting for them to look at the products that they like and then who backs those products and if they're a sustainable company or not. So it gave them a good chance there to look at that. And then they researched all the ways that you can be sustainable.
Well, I teach a nature studies class and a couple biology classes, and I teach at Cleveland Heights, so we're in the city, and I have to start off with recycling because some of those kids just think if you're done with it, you could throw it on the floor. And so we recycle all the paper in the classroom. I tell them about what I'm doing on the weekends and when I'm going to plant garlic and harvest it. And they're not aware of that. And I, tell them about how we're using the manure and the whole bit there. So just to introduce them to it, and then I'll bring garlic to class and let them taste it. I use that also in diffusion. When we start talking about diffusion in biology, I just break a clove, and the kids in the first row find out real quick I broke it, and the kids in the back row find out later. And then that leads into them wanting to taste it. There's different varieties, and then I get kids and parents coming in that want to buy. So, it becomes part of their life.
What makes garlic so healthful?
Well, for one thing, it lowers your platelets, which is going to be good if you have any cardiac problems. Also, it's been proven to reduce certain bacteria in your throat that give you strep throat and stuff. The actual garlic gets gaseous in your blood just like oxygen and carbon dioxide, and some of those bacteria that give you strep throat bind to that, then you exhale them, so your body has less to fight. Mm-hmm. My wife and I both teach, and we rarely are sick because we eat so much garlic, and we're handling all the papers the kids have, and so those are two really good reasons.
What makes your farm sustainable?
Well, we have an alpaca farm right next door, and we take their alpaca manure and spread it on our field. Before we plant, we till it in, and then after we harvest, we also go get loads of manure and till that in before we put a cover crop on. Right now, we have the crop out, the garlic out, but we've sowed crimson clover and alfalfa. They're both nitrogen producers that put nitrogen back in the soil, and then in early October we'll plow that under before we plant. We also have a rain barrel that we use. If we need a little extra water, we catch the rain off the barn roof. And then we also, after we plant the garlic in October, I used to go around with my truck and a trailer and pick up leaves that people put on their devil strip. Now we have the city is bringing loads of leaves out here, so we're taking the city's leaves, and then after we plant, we put about 4 inches of leaves over the whole quarter-acre garlic that we're planting, and that helps to keep the moisture in the soil, and it helps so the weeds can't get through the leaves, but the garlic can. So then we plow those under, so those leaves aren't all ended up in a landfill.
How does your garlic differ from the store-bought?
Well, the store-bought garlic, a lot of it is up to 6 months old, and garlic will keep anywhere for 6 to 9 months. Ours was just harvested in July, so it's relatively fresh. When you break into a clove, it's nice and oily. There's a lot of moisture there. You have trouble getting the outer skin off. The stuff in the store is older, so that's peeling right off. You're not getting the same amount of oils, so therefore you're going to have a lot less quality of taste. It's a lot less garlicky. We grow 14 varieties here. We have some that are kind of hard to find. We have a Kabar, which has heat up front and then tapers off, a Bogota, which is hot at the end. We have some that have a peppery finish on them, and once we start educating the people at the market about that, they come back and say, I want the music. When's the Bogota coming out? When are you going to have rock and roll? So they educate themselves, and they learn what they like instead of, some people at first come up and go, we just want the regular garlic, and we say, we don't have the regular garlic. So it's a big educational process, and once somebody's tasted our garlic, they're not going to go back to the store.
Welcome back to Pro-Con. Now we're going to talk about the Thaxton Garlic Farm.
Okay.
Dave, I think that was a really cool operation. I mean, it seems like they had thought about a little bit of everything. Capturing rainwater so as not to use up water from the systems. Using, when we rake our leaves and hope the city takes it away for us, he's actually asking the city to bring it back, lay it on his farm to act as a incubator for the next season's garlic. I mean, he's sort of thought about every little bit of process, and then he's, in so doing, created a boutique line of garlic. I mean, 13 different varieties, I think he said he had. I didn't know there were that many varieties of garlic, to be honest.
Well, I would say this. Nice farm, nice part-time activity.
Oh.
Part-time activity. I think we have to ask really a major question here, which is a large corporate growing operation wrong just by the mere factor of its size? And I would have to say probably not. I would say there's legitimacy to somebody doing farming like this on a small level. Mm-hmm. But on a business perspective, whether it's profitable enough to make a business go for enough for them to live on, I don't know, but I'm guessing it isn't real profitable. Again, though, it's a good example of a limited part-time activity that makes some profit, that can be fun for somebody, involving some of these practices. The question really becomes, can that work on a mega scale? Can you make that work in a large way for the kind of food production needed in this country? And I think that brings up the question, can you do farming of products in a corporate culture using pesticides and fertilizers and end up with a really good product at a good price that's respectful of the land and use some of these practices? I don't know the answer to that.
But see, that would be interesting. Now, if someone were able to extrapolate this out to a corporate level but do the same things, because clearly he's not getting all the leaves of the city. So instead of the city having to put all those leaves into a landfill, there was a large organization that took them all and then used these other practices. You're right. I mean, we don't know. We don't know, because this was something that they're doing as a passion. It was much more of a boutique thing, and I can't argue that. The only thing I can tell you is, looking at it, you could see some of those practices being used and perhaps have a better product if a corporate could get away from the mentality of, I've got to fill the field with pesticides, right. I've got to do... There are some benefits. And one of the things he brought out is that a lot of the garlic that we get, unfortunately, in this country, not because it comes from China, but because it takes so long for it to get here, we're not getting something that tastes as good as we got to taste that day. I mean, that garlic was amazing.
Well, there's a lot of assumptions there. I think with modern shipping, you can get goods here pretty quickly. I don't know anything
yes, if
about...
you order them one at a time, but they're coming over in a shipload.
I don't know anything about the quality of the products from other nations, and I don't have anything disparaging to say about China either.
I'm not saying anything bad about China.
Okay.
I'm saying the time it takes to get to us.
Yeah, I'm just saying a lot of assumptions there. Not too sure what conclusions are valid.
Yeah.
But again, I think that the interesting thing is, if there is a market for these kinds of things, like with organic yogurts. There's a lot of organic yogurts on the market today. Years and years ago, not so many. It's something that grew and expanded. As the American consumer, more people want these things. Yeah. We'll find out if some of these ideas can work.
This is Barry Benjamin. Thanks for watching. See you next time on Sustainable Life.